Today, we've got shocking news about the upcoming iPhone 16 Pro Max on top of more upgrades and features. Let me know in the comments who out there is excited for the iPhone 16 series, and don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with the latest tech. So first up, we've got more rumors floating around about the solid-state buttons on the iPhone 16 Pro models, and while this did seem like a likely step from the 15 to the 16, it doesn't look like it's happening. The supplier Cirrus Logic pretty much confirmed this when they told the shareholders that they had disposed of the wafers. According to some sources though, we will be getting an additional button on the frame, and it's going to be located below the power button on the right hand side of the phone, and it's reported that this is a new capture button for photos, but hopefully we will still have some customization options similar to the new action button that we saw last year. And a great way to get the most out of your iPhone is with today's video sponsor, the Ugreen Nexode 100-watt charger and their 360-degree phone windscreen mount. Now, the strong and sturdy mount uses suction to attach to the windscreen and allows for hands-free use of phone calls or GPS. It's easy to install and it's got an adjustable extension as well as a 360-degree rotation, and thanks to the spring-loaded phone holder, you can attach any phone in seconds. For the times your phone does run out of battery, the Nexode 100-watt charger uses GaN technology to deliver power to all of your electronics. It's got a compact design with 3 USB-C ports and 1 USB-A port, and you can charge all of your electronics at once with a max power output of 100 watts, and of course we've got all of the relevant safety features to keep your devices protected. Now, the links for both these products are down in the description below, so go ahead and check them out now. Next up, we've got news from reliable analyst Mark Gurman that Apple are going to be leveraging software updates in order to sell the new iPhone 16. Like many other companies out there, it's all going to be focused on artificial intelligence. iOS 18 is going to have a whole range of new generative AI features, and it's likely that some are going to be specific to the iPhone 16 series and not available for the lower models. They're also going to be focusing on AI using the device itself and not having to rely on the cloud. Now, Google showed us with the Pixel 8 how much AI can actually improve the experience, although a lot of their features are reliant on the cloud. And then Samsung announced their new Galaxy AI, which can be focused on processing on the device itself, and it seems Apple are doing the same. Given the power of the Apple chipset, as long as Apple put work into the right AI features, I think it's going to be great for all iPhone users. Next up, we've got a shocking discovery for the iPhone 16 Pro models, and according to Majinbuu on Twitter, Apple is testing an iPhone 16 Pro model with a single punch hole camera. Now, he advised that it's not finalized, but it's definitely being considered, and a big surprise from a company that's avoided the punch hole camera for such a long time. If this is the case, I can only assume that they've managed to get a working under-display sensor for the Face ID, or they're going to utilize the same camera for both, and I also have to admit it looks very strange seeing this on an iPhone. Now, it's important to note though that it is still early days, and even with the iPhone 14 we had news of it looking like this, which was in fact correct, but then the gap was filled with the dynamic island. So again, it could be the case that even if this is the new design, we're still going to have it covered with the dynamic island. Next up, we've got news of changes in display sizes, with the smaller iPhone 16s coming in at 6.3 inches, and then the larger iPhone 16s coming in at 6.9 inches, and according to reliable display analyst Ross Young, they're also going to have a taller aspect ratio as part of this change. Now, the iPhone 16 Pro models will of course be 120Hz LTPO displays. While it's still unknown about the non-pros, we're hoping that we're finally going to see LTPO displays in order to compete with the new line of S24s. We also have news that we'll be seeing some upgrades in the camera department for the 16 Pro and the 16 Pro Max, and they're getting an upgraded 48-megapixel ultra-wide camera for higher resolution and more detail, and then we're also going to be seeing a 5x tetraprism lens for the iPhone 16 Pro. Ravegnas has also tweeted to say that Apple is working on its own in-house ISP to further improve the camera capabilities of the iPhones. Another change for the new iPhone is that we'll be seeing all 4 models use the new A18 Bionic chipset, but realistically it looks like a bit of a change in marketing tactics from Apple. Now, the iPhone 16 Pro and the iPhone 16 Pro Max are going to be using the new A18 Pro chipset, and then the non-Pro models are going to be using a standard A18, but it's very likely that the standard A18 chipset is just going to be a rebranded version of this year's A17. Now, for those of you excited for the iPhone 16 series, we're now going to run through the full specs, design, and the pricing for each model in the range to help you guys decide which one is right for you. For my regular viewers, you guys have probably seen this, so just skip to the next video, but if you're new here, then hit subscribe now and we'll get right into it. So first up, we have the standard iPhone 16. And with the standard iPhone 16, we get a 6.3-inch OLED display, and we're hoping this is finally going to be an LTPO display. The iPhone 16 is going to have a taller aspect ratio than last year, and it's going to be protected by Ceramic Shield 2. We get the new Dynamic Island, which covers up the 12-megapixel selfie camera and Face ID sensors. Then on the rear, we've got a 12-megapixel primary camera and a 12-megapixel ultra-wide. It's powered by the A18 chipset, and it's likely coming with 6GB of RAM and up to 512GB of storage. It's also powered by a 3450 mAh battery with 30W fast charging, and it's going to come with advanced 5G, Bluetooth 5.3, and Wi-Fi 7. Now, it will of course ship with iOS 18 and is expected to launch from around $850 in September 2024. Now, next up, we've got the iPhone 16 Plus. With the iPhone 16 Plus, we get a 6.9-inch OLED display, and again, we're hoping this is going to be an LTPO display. It's got a taller aspect ratio than its predecessor and is protected by Ceramic Shield 2. We get the new Dynamic Island, which covers up the 12-megapixel selfie cameras and Face ID sensors. Then on the rear, we've got a 12-megapixel primary camera and a 12-megapixel ultra-wide. It's powered by the A18 chipset, and it's likely going to come with a choice of 6GB of RAM and up to 512GB of storage. It's powered by a 4420 mAh battery with 30W fast charging, and it comes with the advanced 5G, Bluetooth 5.3, and Wi-Fi 7. Now, it of course ships with iOS 18 and is expected to launch from around $950 in September 24. Next up, we've got the iPhone 16 Pro. Now, the iPhone 16 Pro has a 6.3-inch 120Hz LTPO OLED display. It's got a taller aspect ratio than its predecessor, and the Pro is protected by Ceramic Shield 3. We get the new Dynamic Island, which covers up the 12-megapixel selfie camera and Face ID sensors. Then on the rear, we get a 48-megapixel primary camera, a 48-megapixel ultra-wide camera, and then we've got a 12-megapixel tetraprism camera with 5x optical zoom. It's powered up by the A18 Pro chipset, and it comes with 8GB of RAM and up to 1TB of storage. And it's also powered up by a 3450 mAh battery, and fast charging is still unknown at the moment, but we do expect some improvements. And of course, it comes with the advanced 5G, Bluetooth 5.3, and Wi-Fi 7. It will of course ship with iOS 18 and is expected to launch from around $1,100 in September 2024. Now finally, we save the best to last, the iPhone 16 Pro Max. With the iPhone 16 Pro Max, we get a 6.9-inch 120Hz LTPO OLED display. Again, like the other phones, it's got a taller aspect ratio than its predecessor and is protected by Ceramic Shield 3. We get the Dynamic Island, which covers up the 12-megapixel selfie cameras and Face ID sensors. Then on the rear, we've got a 48-megapixel primary camera, a 48-megapixel ultra-wide, and a 12-megapixel tetraprism camera with 5x optical zoom. It's powered up by the A18 Pro chipset. It comes with 8GB of RAM and up to 1TB of storage, and it's powered up by a 4500 mAh battery. As with the 16 Pro, we don't know the fast charging at the moment, but we do expect to see some improvements. Now, it comes with the advanced 5G, Bluetooth 5.3, and Wi-Fi 7, and it will of course ship with iOS 18, and this one's expected to launch around $1,300 in September 24. So overall, the iPhone 16 is looking like a great phone, with focus being on hardware and software improvements rather than completely redesigning the phone. Because of its similarities to its predecessor, it's probably not going to make anyone with an iPhone 15 rush for an upgrade, but for anyone with an older iPhone or looking to get their first iPhone, it's going to be a great choice. Now, of course, as we get closer to launch, more and more information is going to continue to come in. I'm going to be sharing it as soon as it does, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a thing in the future.